Hello, everyone. This is John Beverly, the businessman with a conscience, here at the Alkemalon Village, where each one reach one, each one teach one. One brick, one building, one block at a time. And as we often say, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And we show that we care about the things that we do and the information that we also try to share. And hopefully, that's something that I say might would encourage you, to empower you, to make you think about things before you do it, and think about the things that you are also doing. And today, I just want to talk a little bit about being a man and what makes a man and how a man becomes a man. We often comes out as starts off as young men or little boys or whatever you want to perhaps call us. But in the making of a man is that little child, that little boy that runs around in the neighborhood, and he's also learning as he running around in the neighborhood, learning how to do things, how to be responsible, how to be independent. And I remember when I was coming up as a child, we didn't have a whole lot, and I often tells that story, but need more, want to be better helps to make you be the person that you are today and the person that you are going to become. And as I was growing up, like I say, we didn't have a whole lot, but I would go to the different houses, neighbors, and things, and knock on their door. And when they answered, I would ask them, did they need anything from the store? Did they need the garbage taken out? Did they need any odds and end work did around the house or whatever that I could find my little hands to do? I wasn't that big, but I was always ambitious. I always wanted more. I was always trying to have something. And sometimes they would let me go to the store with them for them. And sometimes they let me take garbage out. Sometimes they would allow me to wash windows. But all of that stuff was the making of a man. Uh, and teaching us how to be responsible. And my dad always told me, he said, whatever job you have, do it the best of your ability. Do it the best that you can. Leave the job knowing that you have did your best. And unfortunately today, sometimes some of us will take on a job and we'll do the job, but unfortunately sometimes we will half do the job. And I was talking to Elder Piaki, which is my partner that bees with me sometime, just the other day. We had a friend of ours that he always wanted to do something, but he would half do things, and after half doing them, and he took pride in whatever he was doing. It looked it good, but sometimes when you half do things, they don't hold up. And so after realizing that this stuff wasn't hold up, it's hard to recommend somebody to do something when you know that they work don't hold up. And this is all a part of being a man because you have to be a man that's responsible and obligated to stuff that you help to see being done and responsible for it. And so they would ask me from time to time did I either have a job for them or knew somebody that needed some work done. And as much as I would have wanted to help them, unfortunately, I couldn't recommend them because I knew that they was half doing jobs. They would get paid for the job. You don't get half paid. So, and my dad, like I say, always told us, say, when you do a job, do it the best of your ability. So when people see the work that you do, they would want you to come back to do something else because whatever you did for them that time, you did a pretty good job at it. And like I said, when I was that child, I was always doing stuff. I made sure I brought the change back. I got exactly what they wanted, and they give me a little tip, a little change. Wasn't a lot back then, 50 cents or a quarter wasn't a whole lot of money, but it don't sound like it. But it was, 50 cents back then or a quarter, whatever, nickel, dimes, whatever, was quite a bit at that time. So, and I would let them know that I would appreciate it. That's another thing. You let people know that if they choose to have you to do something for them, let them know that you appreciate them, for trusting in you to allow you to take on that responsibility. And throughout my younger years growing up, there was a lady that had a little house, a house store on the corner from us. And I would often come in sometime with my nickels and dimes and, uh, buy my little goodies. And I would always ask her, "Can I help you? Can I help you do anything?" And sometimes she let me take the garbage out. Well, one day she thought enough of me and allowed me to help her behind the counter and wait on some kids. And that really inspired me and encouraged me. And I said then, one day I was going to own my own business. And as I went forward, and that was my growing, learning how to do things. And I went on, and I think at that time I was only in the second grade, but that was still in my makings. And as we grew up and we moved from down south from Mississippi to here to Detroit, Michigan, my father would take us on the job with him and taught us how to clean, mop. We did janitorial work with him sometimes. And he taught us how to be responsible. And we didn't just dump the garbage. If there was some waste in it, we wiped the garbage cans out. We put clean bags in, and mopped the floor. If we didn't have mop, we did a good job. So people recommended us. And as they began to, we took the time, we took the patience, and did things the way that they were supposed to be done. And all of this was the makings of a man, because a real man is responsible. He's ambitious. He wants to learn, and he also wants to take care of his own, whether he's married or not. If he's not married, he's single. A real man would want to take care of his own self. Unfortunately, we got some, and I'm not saying that they're not real men, but would like for somebody else to take care of them. Well, in my growing up, as well as I was my mother and father's responsibility, I didn't mind, and always wanted to have my own. I always wanted to work and earn something. And when I made a little money, I took some of it home. Well, actually, I took it all home, and I gave it to my mother so I could help out with the household. Because, like I say, we didn't have a lot, and that was the making that was showing that I was responsible, and I was considerate. I was paying attention to what was going on, and I often tell people, when you see a need, meet the need. Well, I didn't know a whole lot about that at that particular time, but it was needed for me to be able to help do something with my mother and father to help them. So in doing so, and on my way up that ladder, I began to, I got out of school, just barely got out of school, but the Lord blessed me, and I tell people that really got my education after I got out of school. And in doing so, I found myself, after I got out of school and I began to work, I got married at an early age, and the responsibilities of a wife and trying to take care of my home and everything. And I worked and I earned money, and we was blessed. I think I was about 22 or 23 years old when my wife and I bought our first home, and we took our time and we did a little bit at a time. We worked on painting the rooms, and after the room got painted, we put carpet on the floor, and after we were blessed to get the carpet on the floor, then we bought a living room set, and after the living room set was paid for, then we've got a dining room set. But quite naturally, we had a bed, of course. That was one of the first things. But the obligations, the responsibilities of a man, he had to meet those needs. And every now and then, I run across somebody that would ask me, what's the difference in either them or myself, and what does it take, or why do people feel certain ways? But I just let them know a man is a man, regardless of what he do or might not do. But what really makes him different and better, I would say, that he's responsible. He's considerate. He's not just concerned about his own self, but he's also concerned about his wife's. well-being, his children's well-being. And if he's not married, if it's his girlfriend, he's concerned about her. He want to make sure she's all right. He want to make sure that the light bill and the gas bill and the water bill is paid so that they don't get none of this stuff turned off. He want to make sure the gas in the tank so he's able to take them from A, B to C to Z or wherever they had to go and do what they needed to do. He was responsible. I often tell people what I try to do is focus on being considerate and taking care and meeting my needs and consider others as well as yourself. And ask the Lord to give me that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to be able to accept things that I can't change and also consider others as well as myself. So when I do things and I see people, I try to treat people the way I want to be treated myself. And in doing so, I have had people to treat me the same way, and I've had people to treat me just any kind of way. But you don't have to stay there and put up with the madness. So what you do is find yourself keeping it moving, and you adapt to different situations. Sometimes it pays to talk and let people know what's on your mind, but then there are other times when you just need to just be quiet, be still, and let God work. Because my God said He'll fight my battles. If I hold my peace and just keep still, He'll fight my battles. And He has fought a whole lot of my battles. I've tried to fight some myself. Things didn't quite come out all right, because, sometimes we can get in the midst of confusion. But we have to, like I say, consider each other. I talked to my nephew the other day, and he was trying to compare different things, and I told him, I said, just be you. I said, because none of us are the same. So I don't expect you to do what I do or things the way that I do them. You have to be yourself. You have to do things the way you do things. And sometimes people gonna understand, sometimes they're not gonna understand. But you have to learn how to have the patience with those people. There's gonna come a time when people are gonna ask you to do something and you may not have the time to do it. And there are going to be times when people may ask me to do something, and I may not have the time. But then what we try to find ourselves doing, it, if we can, is letting them know the first chance I get, I'm going to do this. And being men and whoever we are, we have to have the patience to wait on individuals. Sometimes a husband and a wife can't do what the husband wants right now. Sometimes the husband can't do what the wife wants done right now. And my Bible also says, and I compare that and I think about that sometimes, it says, wait on the Lord and be of good courage. If you wait on the Lord, just wait, I say, on the Lord, and He will take care of you in due time. There were times when my wife and I wanted things, and she would say, John, when are we going to do this? I couldn't tell her nothing else but when it's time, because we couldn't do nothing before it was time. So when it was time and the Lord blessed us, I did what I could do. But in the meantime, I just kept doing the best that I could. And that's all anybody can ask of you is to do the best that you can. And we are all servants. My mother and father, they raised us and they taught us to be servants. No big eyes, no little U's, no bigger because I have this and I have that don't make me any better than you. So we have to think about those things and think about other people. People have feelings too, just like you do. So if you don't want people, different ones to say things to you a certain way, then don't you talk to them any kind of way. Consider them as well as yourself. So hopefully I said something to encourage you. And remember, just be you. Love your neighbor, love your friend, love your wife. And if they don't want you to love them or won't let you love them, just keep it moving. Like I say, hopefully I said something to encourage someone. Remember, this is John Beverly, the businessman with a conscience, here at the Alcumalon Village, where each one reach one, each one teach one. one brick, one building, one block at a time. Thank you for listening and have a great day.
John Beverly, the Candyman, the businessman with a conscience, on LICMC.net radio every Saturday at 3 p.m.